Let's talk about the real meaning of casting your pearls to swine and why it's important to gatekeep your journey to spiritual enlightenment. Matthew chapter 7 verse 6 states, "Give not that which is holy unto dogs, neither cast ye your pearls before swine, lest they trample them under their feet and turn again and rend you." This particular scripture sits in the middle of the Sermon on the Mount as Jesus is talking to his disciples, telling them to use spiritual discernment and to not give out information to just any old body. But let's think about what was stated. Don't give out your pearls of wisdom to swine. What are pearls? Pearls are formed in clams and mollusks, and they exist on the bottom of the sea. And in order for you to find a pearl, first, the pearl has a process by which an irritant or a grain of sand or a parasite gets inside of its shell. And as an immune response, it typically begins to cover the parasite or the irritant over a period of 2 to 5 years. And in order for people to find a beautiful pearl that has been developed within a clam or a mollusk, they have to dive into the ocean. So in essence, you have to dive deep, find it by searching, opening the clamshells, and then getting the pearl of wisdom that is the information that you have sought out. And what this scripture is telling you is not to cast them to swine, which are pigs. And if you think about it, a pig spends its time looking at the ground. I don't know if you've seen these videos floating around TikTok where literally people are taking their pigs and pointing them to look up at the sky. And because they are so unused to looking up because they're always facing down in the dirt, they begin to scream. Here is literally a metaphor speaking about you searching out something that is precious, like a pearl of wisdom, and casting it before an animal that never looks up to the sky and only wallows in the mud and eats the trough or what's left over of information and can't seek anything deeper in the ocean like a pearl of wisdom. And you, as a person who has obtained these pearls by seeking and diving deep, taking those pearls and casting them before an animal that can't even look up to the sky. Not only does he say, don't do that, but he also says they will turn on you and rend you, meaning attack you. This scripture makes me think about my own personal journey to spiritual enlightenment. I grew up in the church, and I grew up with people around me that were, Bible thumpers, which is why I am well aware of all of the scriptures in the Bible. I was raised this way. I have a full understanding of what Christianity and these different spiritual aspects are because I went on my own journeys. And what you find is on the journey to spiritual enlightenment, it is a calling. It's not something that you received in a building. It's something that gently nudges you over time, and it finds you. Okay. And it only comes to those of us who are open to the journey of surrender and seeking higher knowledge, because this journey is a journey of surrendering. All along my journey to spiritual enlightenment, there were these little nuggets that would come in the form of different things. It would be something I saw or something someone said, just little nudges that was leading me in the direction to seek deeper and higher knowledge. And you have to think about that in the aspect of people who have never received those nudges. What does that say about your journey? Should you be telling people who are not being nudged the information that has been specifically given to you? The path to enlightenment is a journey of surrender. That means leaning into your intuition and being led to higher knowledge, not going into a building and being taught by a fallible human being who is often deeply entrenched in scandal and not fit to lead anyone. It's about you accepting the calling and surrendering your ego to something that is unknown. You cannot be taught unless you ask the questions, and you cannot be taught or led if you think you have all the answers. We are led to test every spirit, meaning that if you find information that does not resonate with you, you either turn away from it or you seek deeper understanding so that you can develop your own understanding. This is also about surrendering away from fear. And fear is being taught that something is evil and not truly understanding it or seeking to understand it from your own perspective because you are afraid. In order for you to take the journey to enlightenment, it must be a journey of surrender and trusting your intuition, okay? Trusting your gut and knowing that what you are feeling or being led to is a higher calling, okay? This journey is not for everyone, okay? You must gatekeep your path and not teach everyone the things that you have been led to. This is what scripture is talking about when he's saying not everyone that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter the kingdom of heaven. And also this particular scripture in Matthew talking about pearls of swine specifically mentions dogs. And it also says that dogs won't be in the kingdom of heaven, because what does that mean? The people who are not ready and willing to surrender to the journey of understanding and enlightenment, and the people who have not been nudged, meaning that your entire life you spent looking at the ground and you'd rather stay there in the muck and mire of the mud and never look up to find anything different, or dive to the ocean to get a pearl of wisdom that is buried deep. Enlightenment takes study. You are supposed to study to show yourself approved unto God, meaning that you are supposed to seek God's full face and surrender your ego to thinking that you have all of the answers. Think about if no one ever went into the ocean to open a clam. Maybe they opened the first clam and there was no pearl there, because that happens, and find these hidden buried treasures, okay, that are born out of irritants or parasites, meaning that these particular factions of information, misinformation, the things that are given to you or regurgitated to you for you to accept, instead of you covering those things with knowledge and understanding to form something like a pearl, which is beautiful and can be used as treasure. This parasite or grain of sand represents information within this matrix, and you seeking higher knowledge over time and developing something beautiful as a pearl. There's a very distinct reason as to why we were allowed during slavery to worship, have church, have Bibles, okay, with even some information that was omitted from them, okay, because there was a slave Bible. And why information has been gatekept from us over time is because they did not want us to learn about our higher selves, higher information. This is the whole reason for the COINTELPRO, Rise of a Black Messiah, wanting to spy and look in on the community to make sure that there's none of us that rise up with information that could be enlightening and opening the eyes of people who have been deeply entrenched in the slavery colonized mindset of one-tracked mindedness and one-dimensional thinking. Finding something as beautiful as a pearl and never casting it to those who are unwilling to learn, those who are unworthy, who have not been nudged on the journey to actually take this journey to find information or learn anything different than what they are taught. Keep your pearls of wisdom to yourself. And even with the things that I teach on this channel, I challenge everyone, study, okay? Pick up a book, go to a library, open up other modes of information other than one book, because he who knows one book knows none. Knowledge and information is everywhere. It is a very colonized way of thinking to continuously ingrain yourself in ideals and thoughts of spirituality that are slavery. With that being said, the message that I teach on this channel is not for everyone. It's only for a select group. This is why the Bible talks about in the end times the elect. And elect means something that is of higher standards, meaning that you can't be fooled by different things that are put out. Oh, look, Jesus over here, Jesus over there. They're looking in the sky. They're fooled by all of these illusions that are placed before them, never understanding that these are things that could be orchestrated. So do not cast your pearls to swine. And those of you who are seeking enlightenment, I'm a firm believer that if you find my channel, you found it because it was meant for you to find, okay? I hope you enjoyed this message. Please like, share, and subscribe, and put a comment down in the comments just to let me know what you think of this content overall. Keep shining bright. Peace, love, and light.